Hey, welcome on everybody. Tony Swantek here. Snap delivered, Snap Financial. We're going to cover our partnership with the Jones and Associates ERC program. For those of you that are brand new, Snap delivered really is about delivering success to people, delivering value to our client base. And we have a branch of the company called Snap Financial, which is really set up to deliver freedom for each and every one of us and several business owners that can take advantage of this program that we're going to share with you tonight. The program I want to talk about is called the Employee Retention Tax Credit Program. For those of you that are brand new, you might not be familiar with SNAP. You might not be familiar with the ERC credits or anything like that. But the bottom line is we're going to share a little bit about this program and how you can benefit financially by sharing this program with business owners who have employees and basically paid their employees throughout the pandemic. And it's substantial, the amount of money that they can receive from this ERC program, and the amount of money you can receive is substantial as well. To give you some basics on the Employee Retention Tax Credit Program, it was first introduced in the CARES Act, that $2.1 trillion COVID stimulus package back in March of 2020. And it's the same legislation that created the PPP loan program. Some of you guys might be familiar with that. Almost every business owner is going to be familiar with PPP loans. The vast majority of business owners took advantage of the PPP loan program. Back then, you actually weren't able to do both programs at the same time. There was a new act that passed in December of 2020 called the Consolidated Appropriations Act, and that basically allowed businesses to take advantage of both programs. The ERC is substantial. It's worth up to $26,000 per W-2 employee that a business owner had during the pandemic. They can get up to $5,000 per employee in 2020 and up to $21,000 per employee in 2021. It's what's called a fully refundable tax credit. So what that means is instead of getting a credit towards future taxes due, you actually receive a check from the United States Treasury. It looks just like this one you see here in the little picture at the top. It's a direct check from the United States Treasury. And it's not a loan. You don't have to ask for forgiveness. It's not earmarked. The PPP loan program, you had to use that money on payroll, or you could use up to 40% on approved operating expenses. The ERC money, the business owner can use it however they want to use it. You claim this ERC funding by amending your 941 quarterly payroll tax returns. It's called the 941X form, and you claim the ERC on that form. The qualification process is in depth, to say the least. There's really, to simplify this whole page, there's three ways to qualify. There's what's called the significant decline in gross receipts test. So if a business took a big hit in their revenue or their overall gross receipts, boom, that could qualify them. If they didn't take a hit in their receipts, maybe they're not down very much, or maybe they're up, there's other ways you can look at. Did they have any full shutdowns? Did they have any partial shutdowns? Partial shutdowns could be direct or indirect that impacted them. A direct partial shutdown would be something like a capacity restriction or a curfew. So if I owned a restaurant and all restaurants were at 50% capacity because the mayor said they needed to be that way, and I've got 100 tables, but I'm only allowed to seat 50, I'm still open. I'm not fully shut down, but I'm partially shut down because I can't use half of the tables in my restaurant. If I had curfew, normally I've got a bar in my restaurant, and we stay open till midnight, but everybody's got to close at 10 p.m. That could potentially help me to qualify for this program because I had to cut out 2 hours from my regular day of business. Then an indirect partial shutdown, that could be something like trade shows. There was restrictions on large group gatherings. Maybe I used to generate a lot of business in trade shows, and now here's 2020, 2021. Almost all states had restrictions on large group gatherings, and trade shows were pretty much out. You had to go virtual. They definitely weren't the same. And so maybe you didn't generate the volume that you normally would. So that would be an indirect partial shutdown. Same thing like a supply chain issue. Maybe you were open, you were fully operational as a business, but your supplier that got you one of your main products, they were shut down by governmental orders. And so that could potentially qualify you as well for this program. If a business wants to move forward with Jorns and Associates, which is the Snap Financial partner for the ERC program, Jorns will basically take care of all the heavy lifting. The client just needs to get their information for their CPA, their bookkeeper, their payroll department, and Jorns will handle everything from there. They'll basically get all the documents they need. They'll get a questionnaire filled out that'll kind of let them know where you were really affected as a business owner throughout the pandemic. Jorns will calculate the wage attribution, remove PPP loan forgiveness wages if they were used, but they'll also use proprietary software to maximize the wages that are available for this program. And then at the end of the day, Jorns will put the final signature with one of their CPAs on the 941X amended return before it mails out to the IRS. Jorns will not guarantee any specific refund amount until they have the payroll and they can run the actual calculations. They do guarantee their calculations are accurate. They guarantee that their filings with the IRS as a paid preparer are compliant with program rules and regulations. And they do offer long-term audit support and carry E&O insurance of up to $1 million per client. There's no financial risk of working with Jorns and Associates. They charge a contingency fee of 20%, and they've got a fully refundable $2,600 deposit due at signing. If for whatever reason a client doesn't qualify or a client doesn't want to move forward, they refund the $2,600, no questions asked. If the client does qualify, that 20% is not due until the client actually receives their check from the United States Treasury. Once they get their check, Jorns will send them an invoice for their 20% minus the $2,600. They credit that deposit towards the invoice on the back end. So it really is risk-free. If the client gets money from the government, they pay Jorns. If they can't get money from the government, they're refunded, and there's literally no cost, no risk. Jorns has software that performs the calculations to eliminate human error, maximize the ERC, and they prepare an audit-ready package, including compliance services. For business owners that want to move forward with this program, they simply usually watch this 5-minute video that we have on the Jorns website with Snap Financial. If you log into your back office at snapdeliveredteam.com, you've got my referral links as one of your menu items. You just click on that and you can refer an ERC client. You click that link, copy it and paste it, text it to them, Facebook it to them, WhatsApp it to them, email it to them, however you want to get it to them. When they click on that link, there's a 5-minute video that pops up. They watch that, they learn about the program. If they want to move forward, they just say, hey, get started. It'll bring up this engagement agreement. The engagement agreement spells out everything for the client. It lets them know about the fees. The video will as well, but it basically spells out the 20%, the $2,600 deposit. It talks about the audit assistance, full 5-year look back period audit assistance. So once they sign the engagement letter, they pay the refundable deposit. When they sign the engagement agreement, it takes them to the payment page where they can literally just use a credit card, pay the $2,600. If they want to mail a check, on the Jorns website, there's a PO box to send payments into. If they want to ACH, they can make arrangements for that. But at the end of the day, probably 99% of our clients will just use a credit card. They can get their cash back, their rewards points, whatever they're getting. Once they do that, an onboarding specialist will send them out the questionnaire, all the required documents that they need. And that onboarding specialist is really basically their job is to guide the client from start to finish through the entire filing process. They'll get their revenue spreadsheet filled out. They'll get their 941s, which is their quarterly payroll tax returns. They'll get all their payroll documentation, any PPP loan details they had. That onboarding specialist that's assigned to their file is really going to walk them through this process from A to Z. The CPAs will then be the ones that prepare and review all the filing documents. They send it over to the client to review. Once the client signs off, it comes back and it gets signed by the CPA that's working on their file, and it's mailed to the IRS. The whole process from start to finish to get it mailed out can be anywhere from about 3 to 5 weeks. A lot of it depends on how quick the client is getting their documents over to the Jorns and Associates team. But once they get everything in order, the calculations are done, the qualifications team runs their reports, and then the CPAs are ready to prepare docs, get them reviewed, and then move forward with the filing. Once it's filed with the IRS, it's approximately, right now, it's a little bit quicker. It's as soon as 12 weeks, maybe even 10 weeks for some of our clients, but it can push back out to up to 20 weeks for sure. Larger clients take a little bit longer. If they're getting more than 200,000 per quarter, or in any quarter they get 200,000, that particular quarter has a further review at the IRS level. And so it takes about 6 to 8 months for the larger clients to receive their payouts. Smaller clients that are under 200,000 per quarter, we've seen them come in as quickly as 70, 75 days, but on average, it's been about 90 days. The Journs team invoices for their 20% after the client receives payment. So nothing's due pretty much other than the refundable deposit. They just wait. When they get paid by the government, then they can pay their fees to Journs. I want to go through a little bit of the commissions that are available. With ERC, we pay out basically 40% of the commission is paid to the individual that brings the company to the Journs and Associates family. The Snap Financial commission rate is basically 10% of whatever the client receives. So if the client is receiving $1 million, 10% of that's 100,000. You'd get 40%, $40,000. I know that sounds crazy. It sounds like a lot, but it is what it is. That's what it is. Journs has helped over 5,300 clients apply for over $3.06 billion in ERC funding. And so that's a lot. And so 10% of that is over $300 million that would go into a commission pool. If Snap brought that much business, there'd be 300 million that would go in the commission pool, which means 40% of that would go out to the people that wrote the business, meaning 120 million of that would go out to the direct person that brought in the client. Now, let's say you introduced me and I brought in that client, I make that 40%. You can earn a 10% override if you're a manager or above on my business. And so when I bring that client in, yeah, it's 100,000 in commissions for that client. I end up going, hey, that's great. I make my 40,000, you make 10,000. So it pays 5 levels with compression. So if somebody's not doing anything, they just squeeze out. They don't take up one of your levels. And then as you promote up, you get what they're called open line and generational bonuses. Meaning if you're an executive and there's nobody in your team under you that's an executive, you're getting 2% off all the business all the way down. If I hit executive underneath you, you get 2% under me all the way down. It's called your first generation. If my friend goes 20 levels below me and gets to executive all in a line, now you're at 1%. You're still getting paid on that. Finally, if somebody under them gets it, yeah, eventually you can't pay infinitely out, but it can certainly cover a lot of your organization. We also have a revenue sharing pool. But just to give you an example, if you introduced a few different companies, maybe 10 ERC clients with an average of 25 W-2 employees. So on the overall, Journs averages about 27 employees per client, and those clients receive around $567,000 in ERC funding. Now, some clients are a lot smaller. They get $50,000, $60,000 total in ERC. Some of the larger clients get well over $10 million. But this example says, hey, you don't bring any real big ones. You don't bring any little small ones that have 10 employees. Not that that's that small, but it's smaller than 25. But if the total ERC amount was $5 million, 40% of that, you basically get 10% commissionable, 500,000 is commissionable. Your payout's 40%. That's 200,000 over time. Journs is running a promotion. They're paying 20% of the total payout upon filing. So you don't have to wait the 90 days or the 6 or 8 months. That 20% comes out, and that would be $40,000, which if it takes us 3 weeks to file at Journs, then within 3 weeks, pretty much by the 4th week, you've got your commission for $40,000 released to you. After the client is filed, gets their money, pays Journs the contingency fee. When Journs gets paid, they pay Snap Financial. Snap Financial will then pay you the rest of your commissions, which would be another $160,000. So total earnings there, $200,000 over the time frame. Again, it could take a few weeks before you see the first commission, and it could take months before you see the final commission, but it shows up. I mean, that's the good news about this program. It's checks directly from the United States Treasury. So the checks will cash. They definitely never bounce. The government, if they were going to bounce, the government just prints a bunch more money and they'll never bounce. The ERC program, there's plenty of information on it. You can go to irs.gov. It's not the most fun thing to read, but it talks about the page not being current, but the PDFs are actually current if you want to find the current guidance, and there's hundreds of pages of guidance. But at the end of the day, you can see that, hey, this program is legitimate. This program is part of that CARES Act, that $2.1 trillion stimulus package. And at the end of the day, Snap Financial has partnered up with Jones and Associates, basically as an agency, as a marketing arm, to spread the word and help Jones and Associates acquire even more clients. Right now, I know Jones is bringing on about 200 to 300 clients, new clients every single week. And I know Snap Financial has started to bring in quite a few of those clients. Like a bunch of clients are starting to come in from the Snap Financial family. And we're so fired up about that, because at the end of the day, the more clients the Snap Financial family brings, the more money each and every one of you get to make, if it's in your team or if it's you personally bringing in those clients. Jones and Associates is second to none. They're one of the 3 largest providers of the ERC program in the world. And they're the only one of the big 3 that's actually an accounting firm, meaning they're not just a tax credit firm. These tax credit firms that are out there, they have no CPAs working with them. They just have kind of paid preparers, maybe bookkeepers that come in off the street and do the filings and sign off on them. And they're just a person that basically paid to get their paid preparer's license. All of the Jones filings, the final signature is a certified public accountant signing off on it, mailing it out to the IRS, and then the IRS will do their reviews and then pay the clients when they get done with the process. The commissions are substantial. Each and every one of you has the ability to go out and get business owners, get them educated about the ERC program, and share with them exactly how they can get up to $26,000 per W-2 employee they have. And you can make a massive commission override by helping them get tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, or maybe for some of your contacts, help them get millions of dollars. And you'll be literally sitting on the beach cashing in on some of those big commissions. So we'll do some trainings. We've got a video training I'm working on tonight. There'll be 4 modules. It's basically everything you'd want to know about this program, how to expose this program to business owners, how to answer any questions they might have. That's coming very soon on our Vimeo channel. We already have some trainings on this program, some massive Q&A. I saw a few people raising their hands and asking questions. We're not going to cover that tonight. We've got another basic overview coming up here real soon, but we do have a lot of your questions probably already answered on some of the Vimeo videos. We'll be posting up FAQs in the back office. The most important thing I would tell you to do right now is, if you're brand new, seeing this for the first time, whoever invited you on to tonight's overview, send them a message and say, hey, send me a link to get signed up with Snap Financial. Send me a link to become a Snap Financial agent. It's free. There's no fees. There's no buy-in. You don't need to pay anything. You don't need to qualify for anything. You don't need to have your own business that you put through the program. You can literally just sign up for free and you can start spreading the word. So I appreciate each and every one of you sharing some of your time with us this evening to hear what we're doing and how you might be able to be a part of it. If you're really excited about what you've seen so far, get in contact with who invited you onto the webinar, get signed up, and get in the system for free. And I want to be one of the first people to welcome you to the Snap Financial family. Have a great night. God bless. We'll talk to you very soon.